You watch the Oscars, Gal and Rachel came on and they handed out an Oscar and they were fine. They both looked fine together and they were very friendly. But behind the scenes, Gal was absolutely mortified, so upset.
Yeah, Snow White just had its premiere in LA over the weekend. And despite the sparkling photos you might see from after the fact, allegedly the vibes were off. It was getting kind of awkward between co-stars Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot behind the scenes.
Disney's Snow White is quickly becoming one of the biggest failures in recent Hollywood history. Theaters are empty, ticket sales are dismal, and Disney seems completely at a loss for how to salvage the situation. In a desperate attempt to shift the blame, some media outlets are now turning on Gal Gadot, someone who had no involvement in the film's downfall. For months, the primary backlash was directed at Rachel Zegler, who stirred controversy with her comments about the original Snow White being outdated and her portrayal of the prince as a stalker. Instead of honoring the legacy of the beloved classic, Zegler turned the conversation into a political statement, alienating longtime fans. Now, with the film's release approaching and no signs of the controversy dying down, certain media outlets are attempting to rewrite the narrative. Rather than holding Zegler accountable for her comments, they're trying to drag Gadot into the mess. But why? Gadot has done what any professional actress would: shown up, smiled, and promoted the movie. She didn't write the script, make creative decisions, or create any of the controversy. She simply played her role and moved on. On the other hand, Zegler has continued to make headlines with her social media posts, political activism, and combative attitude toward the film, all of which have only contributed to the backlash. Meanwhile, Gadot is being painted as the villain, while Zegler has quietly been sent to Japan for a promotional tour where she won't have to face any tough questions. This sudden shift in focus is a clear attempt at damage control. With Disney's PR strategy unraveling, they seem to be running out of options. Now resorting to blaming Gadot is a new level of desperation. Let's take a closer look at how this all unfolded, why the media is suddenly targeting Gadot, and what this means for Snow White moving forward.
We all knew that the press tour for Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, or Snow Brown and the Seven Dwarves, or whatever, was going to be a disaster. Why? Well, because very simply, Gal Gadot is Israeli, and Rachel Zegler is a wannabe virtue-signaling far-leftoid who's pro-Palestine.
Did you notice Gal Gadot's body language? She has already shown her dislike for Rachel Zegler. At the American premiere of the remake of Snow White, Rachel looked very embarrassed, while Gal kept fidgeting, barely glancing at Rachel, and maintaining a physical distance. When the two needed to walk off the stage together, Rachel swung her arms and walked in the front, which further fueled the rumors of their feud. On the red carpet, they seemed to be standing closely together and even had one hand around the waist, but their forced or uneasy expressions had already revealed the tension in their relationship.
For months, rumors about tension between the two stars have been circulating, but things took a dramatic turn when Gal made a decision that shocked many in the industry. Zegler recently just lost millions of dollars that were going to be paid to her directly for various interviews that have now been officially canceled. Now, Zegler reportedly was going to be paid an estimated, get this, $3 million altogether for major interviews that were going to be done and organized by the Walt Disney Company. However, it turns out the main reason why many of those interviews were canceled had to do with Gal purposely backing out of those two-on-one interview formats that were going to be done on all ABC programs and other studios as well, along with others like Vanity Fair, IMDb.
What could possibly lead one of Hollywood's top actresses to make a decision that costs her co-star millions? Stay tuned to find out how a single choice turned into a multi-million-dollar drama. In today's video, we're diving deep into the escalating feud between Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler, a rivalry that's not only shaking up their personal lives, but also sending shockwaves through Disney's corridors of power. From behind-the-scenes tensions to very public fallouts, we'll give you the full story right here. We'll reveal exactly how Gal's last-minute decision to pull out of a major promotional campaign resulted in Rachel Zegler losing a staggering $3.5 million, and what this could mean for the future of Disney's Snow White remake. Plus, We'll explore the potential fallout this feud might have on both their careers, as well as the impact on Disney's upcoming projects. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with all the latest Hollywood dramas and behind-the-scenes controversies. This is Woken for Ant, where we keep you in the loop with all the entertainment insights. Let's dive in.
At the heart of the drama are Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, and Rachel Zegler, who stars as Snow White. These two talented and respected actresses have reportedly been at odds for months. Their feud has become so intense that it's starting to impact both the film's production and Disney's marketing strategy. Gal reportedly asked Rachel to reconsider some of her social media posts, particularly those deemed divisive or controversial. And just to make matters even more, a critical drinker we then had Rachel Zegler, who'd already been gulping off left, right, and center, causing endless problems. She then shared the trailer on social media and added "Free Palestine," despite the fact that her co-star Gal Gadot is Israeli. So you can imagine what that's done. That's just poured kerosene all over the place. Rachel, however, refused to alter or remove any of her posts, which only intensified the feud. According to sources close to the situation, Gal's decision was motivated by her desire to distance herself from Rachel, both professionally and personally.
Snow White is gonna be taken back into the editing room, and all the shots of the seven dwarves are gonna be cut because they weren't seven dwarves. There was so much backlash, and it's been enduring for so many months that they are now subtracting all of those actors and putting in CGI dwarves.
This is a disaster.
Anything that's sort of like they're trying to do a new version of an old Disney cartoon, the Disney cartoon always wins.
Yeah, and this political correctness and this just to be... it's terrible.
I don't understand what they're trying to...
I mean, are you going to take your kid to see this?
Probably, yeah.
I'm not.
You're going to pass on this because of this whole controversy now?
No, I'm taking a hard pass on it.
Now Disney has been the king of blockbusters for years, right? But lately they're hitting some serious bumps. The biggest headache, their Snow White remake. It's supposed to come out in March 2025. But oh boy, things are not looking pretty. They've got all these live action remakes lined up, but Snow White is turning into a real test of whether they can keep up their magic touch. A new trailer is out for Snow White, and if you thought that Disney was going to salvage this film after all the backlash that it received about the direction it was going in remaking the 1937 classic, you were wrong. And then we got photos of what was going on with Snow White during filming, and we got a look at these seven dwarves, except they weren't the seven dwarves anymore. They were the seven magical creatures, or as I like to refer to them, these seven magical diversity hires. And if you thought that somehow in this new editing process Disney was going to be able to make a cut that was less feminist girl boss, I don't think they did, because a clip of the Whistle While You Work song that is featured in Snow White has been released, and compared to the 1937 version, let's listen to it.
A new trailer is out for Snow White, and if you thought that Disney was going to salvage this film after all the backlash that it received about the direction it was going in remaking the 1937 classic, you were wrong. And then we got photos of what was going on with Snow White during filming, and we got a look at the seven dwarves, except they weren't the seven dwarves anymore. They were the seven magical creatures, or as I like to refer to them, the seven magical diversity hires. And if you thought that somehow in this new editing process Disney was going to be able to make a cut that was less feminist girl boss, I don't think they did, because a clip of the Whistle While You Work song that is featured in Snow White has been released, and compared to the 1937 version, let's listen to it.
Now you wash the dishes.
Now you wash the dishes.
You tidy up the room.
You tidy up the room.
You clean the fireplace.
You clean those cobwebs.
And I'll use the broom.
And he'll use the broom.
Disney has found themselves in a firestorm of controversy. Co-star Rachel Zegler voices support for Palestine. And that, of course, would have been one thing if Rachel Zegler had just, tweeted out, hey, by the way, free Palestine. She's done that before. However, when you're doing it by attaching this to your promotion of your movie, you're creating a firestorm of you have people that want to boycott it because of Rachel Zegler and her support for Palestine, but you also have the biggest problem with the movie. It's for a modern era. We're going to be doing a different telling of Snow White because, quite honestly, it's not 1937 anymore, and a lot of those ideals just aren't palatable today, and it looks f***ing terrible.
Let's talk money, because Disney is pouring cash into this movie like there's no tomorrow. We're talking over $300 million. That's a lot of zeros, folks. And with that kind of money on the line, you'd expect smooth sailing, right? Wrong. They've had to do reshoots, which is like getting halfway through a huge school project and realizing it's all wrong. So you have to scrap it and start over. Not exactly a small deal when you've already spent a fortune. Reshoots are expensive, time-consuming, and can signal bigger issues behind the scenes, especially when you're working with a massive budget like this. Disney's already invested a small fortune, and now they're potentially adding even more to fix things that went wrong. That's not just a financial headache, it's a clear sign that something's gone seriously off track with Snow White behind the scenes.
The doomed Snow White movie looks like the budget is going to come in just about $300 million. That is so much money for Disney to go out and spend on an absolute flop. Let's not forget that the Snow White movie has probably the most annoying actress in Rachel Zegler.
Going into this with high expectations. At all. And frankly, I'm not sure that anyone else is either. At this point, as most of you know, Disney has been fighting an uphill battle with this movie since day one.
We'll see. So far, I'm correct. If they do an LA premiere, I have a feeling like Rachel would or Gal will show up first with her little entourage and walk in and say, oh, it's great.
And then throw in some celebrity drama. Gal Gadot, our fierce evil queen, and Rachel Zegler, the sweet Snow White, are not playing nice. They've been butting heads, and it's so bad that it's messing with the movie schedule and how Disney's marketing this thing to us. Imagine spending all day at work and your two top employees can't get along. Headache, right? Now, picture this. Disney had everything lined up for a grand marketing blitz, interviews, big talk shows, you name it. Gal and Rachel were supposed to be the stars of the show, drumming up excitement. But then, boom, Gal pulls out just like that. No more joint interviews. And because the media wanted the duo, not just one person, the entire campaign gets scrapped. Rachel was supposed to bank about $3 million from this deal, and suddenly, it's gone, poof, vanished. That's gotta sting, right? But it's not just about the money. Let's be honest, $3 million is a lot to lose over a feud. It's also about the missed opportunity for Rachel. This was her big chance to shine, to really put her stamp on Hollywood. These interviews aren't just casual chats, they're a launchpad for stars. Losing that kind of exposure is like tripping at the start of a marathon. Now, she has to watch her next moves carefully if she wants to bounce back and keep her career on track. And it's not just Rachel feeling the heat. This feud's ripple effects are shaking up the whole Disney castle. When your leads are at war, it's not just their movie that feels it, it's the entire Disney lineup. Disney's big wigs, like Bob Iger, are probably sitting in their comfy chairs sweating bullets right now. They've got other projects lined up, and now they have to wonder, is this going to happen every time? Disney's been trying to mix things up with a big focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DI for short. Sounds good on paper, right? But it's not all cheers and claps from the crowd. There's a bit of a tug-of-war going on with the fans. Some are all for it, but others think Disney's just playing politics. And guess what? Disney's doubled down, hiring a new DEI supervisor, and they're not paying them peanuts.
Disney's diversity officer departs. Disney's chief diversity officer, LaTondra Newton, is leaving the company. She's been in charge of the diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at Disney for 6 years. Newton is leaving Disney presumably to find a new kingdom to turn into a woke, non-binary, gender non-conforming hellscape crippled by identity politics. I don't know what company she's going to next, but she seems like she'd be a perfect match for Bud Light or Target.
Disney seeks a new DEI director, offering a salary 4 times the national average. Daily Wire reports Disney's making a significant commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion by hiring a director for this agenda with a salary that could reach up to $241,500, well above the national average of $59,428. The company's efforts aim to strengthen relationships with stakeholders and push left-leaning initiatives in diversity while enhancing their DEI messaging. This move has sparked criticism from consumer advocacy groups who argue that prioritizing DEI undermines company performance and shifts focus away from merit-based competency.
It's a move that's got people talking, and not all of it's good. So, where does this leave Disney? In a pretty tight spot, to be honest. They've got a movie that's costing them a fortune, lead actresses who can't see eye to eye, a marketing strategy that's backfiring, and a DEI policy that's stirring the pot. This Snow White saga could really shake things up for Disney's future remakes. It's like watching a high wire act, folks. Can they make it across, or are we about to see a big fall? So, what do you think? Will Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler patch things up, or is this feud set to boil over? Can Disney smooth out these bumps before Snow White hits theaters, or are we looking at a major misstep in their fairy tale lineup? And what about that DI strategy? Is it the right move, or is it complicating things further? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. We love hearing what you think because it keeps the conversation going. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to Woke Informant, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any updates from the heart of Hollywood's hottest controversies. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.